Hi, good morning everyone. Assalamualaikum. Kita dah nampak dah ada participant chat dekat situ ya. Assalamualaikum and welcome. Right, siapa yang dah masuk boleh just introduce yourself and you are from where and your position. Okay, so let me introduce myself. Okay, my name is Dani and I'll be your host for today. And Dani akan tunggu sikit lagi sesiapa yang nak masuk ya. Right, and then okay. Sebelum tu Dani nak explain sedikit berkenaan dengan about iLearning. Okay, iLearning Asia actually is a professional training provider. We are now doing in a virtual training. Okay, since everyone know that now working from home, from both, and then social distancing. So we are right now into a virtual learning. Okay, why virtual learning? Because we can learn everywhere. So if you're interested, nanti just register dekat iLearning ya. Okay. And then I would like to explain to you guys about the duration about the webinar, 45 to 60 minutes like that. Okay, we have the opening and training session and 15-minute Q&A session. Okay, so if anyone don't know how to use the chat, so I just let me know. To chat, simply type your message and hit send. Your message will appear in the chat box. For question, please type your question and then change the chat mode to Q&A mode and send the send button, okay? And then if you would like to speak with Mr. our trainer, you simply request the speak button. You might enable your mic or camera is optional if you would like to show yourself, and then you can on your camera, yeah? Okay, and then this is the guideline lah. If you don't know, I'll show you, right? Okay, hopefully everyone can see the speak request there. If you're having a line problem, you can reconnect back on top of your bar or you can refresh. Yeah. Okay, so and then kita nak tengok sample. Oh yeah, already almost 40 packs already in. Okay, so good morning everyone. Okay, kita akan start sekejap saja lagi. Okay, so okay, today we will learn about forecasting using Excel basis ya. So Dadi nak introduce our best speaker, memang best and hot seller lah. Mr. Ng Walk. Mr. Ng Kin Walk, okay. Mr. Ng ni dia memang sangat-sangat experience. He's actually chartered account. Okay, you can see some of the punya profile. See here. Wait lah, check new profile. I cannot see the profiles. Okay, online. Okay, so Mr. Ng actually has more than 20 years experience. Yeah, more than 20 years auditing, accounting, and company secretary experience across various industry. Okay, previously he worked with one of international accounting firm in the audit and advisory service and cover industry like agriculture, manufacturing, T&D, marketing, banking, finance, and construction. He has served as a director and secretary to several family-related firms. Okay, so Mr. Ng ni dia member of the Malaysian Institute of Accounts (MIA) and fellow members of the Association Chartered Certified Accounts in UK. Okay, so many experience. So kalau siapa yang pergi kelas Mr. Ng ni akan dapat banyak sangat belajar dengan Mr. Ng. So without further, I would like to introduce my favorite trainer, Mr. Ng. Mr. Ng, can you introduce yourself, Mr. Ng, to everyone?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this session on introduction to this course. So Daniel, this course is today's session is to give you an idea of what to expect from iLearning courses on Excel training. We are looking at today certain basic about what forecasting really relates to, and going forward, okay, all right, how Excel may be used. If you do not wish to use Excel, also okay, depending on what is it you're trying to forecast, and so on. So we will be looking at some of my slides, okay, in a short while, which I'll be sharing, okay, with you all, and which should be able to be obtained from iLearning later, as I email to them, and so on. So, but in the interim, I hope that everyone is well. Semua okay, selamat, and well, we will now begin this session on my presentation. So here we go. Okay. So today basically it's supposed to be okay, for some basic introduction, okay, on forecasting, and under this what do you call situation, okay, right, okay, yes, we what do you call just to understand, okay, what will be required of us, especially okay under pandemic scenario. For the time being, of course, any one of us, okay, if you wish to look at, understanding of what forecasting relates to and so on, of course, we should be able to find, okay, lots of explanations, definitions, definisi banyak, memang banyak lah, okay, with regards forecasting. And for many, okay, in terms of traditional forecasting, you can see there, they're always mentioning that forecasting relates to a technique that uses historical data as inputs to make informed estimates that are supposed to be predictive of what's going to happen in the future, right? And once you have predicted what's going to happen in the future, then of course, okay, right, okay, you would help the business to determine, okay, how much to allocate their budgets, plan for anticipated expenses for the coming period of time, and so on. Okay, and yes, whatever we plan for is based on what you project in terms of demands for goods and services offered. Okay, so what you see here is just some traditional definitions. Yeah, okay, and so on, and in mainly we can of course summarize that as far as forecasting is concerned, it's actually to determine what you think is going to happen, okay, in the future. Okay, it could be based on analyzing what happened in the past, okay, and what is going on now. Okay, I've only put that in italics, line 2, where we talk about what's happened in the past and what's going on now. And it has always been, served as a typical planning tool. Okay, right? Okay, especially when you're trying to forecast the future. So you look at past trends, past data, and so on. Okay, all this sounds good. Okay, all right, this sounds good, and so on. And some of the benefits of forecasting or your reasons for undertaking forecasting could be as follows. Okay, these are just some examples that is shown in the list here. For example, you can see there as you read through things like promotions of new businesses, estimation of financial requirements, smooth and continuous function of business, monitor and improve business decisions, maybe a factor in determining of success. Yeah, other planning, proper forecasting done, you can actually plan for what to do. So maybe a key success factor in your business, right? Once you can forecast what's going to happen, okay, or what you think is going to happen, then you can formulate your plans. And finally, of course, as any management text will tell you, the last bullet point is about controlling. Okay, have proper control of the business, i.e., you plan to go in a particular direction, and you need to know whether acting according to plan or not. So that's where you can have actual results compared to the plan. Okay, and that is where you can have control, okay, of a business. So this is basically the typical reasons for undertaking forecasting. I am not going to deny, okay, that maybe things may not be the same as before. So sekarang saya scroll balik, okay, to my earlier slides where we looked at, where we could be looking at past data and looking at, what you use it to forecast the future. So the question then here is, are things, okay, if you are going to look at past data and so on, can we, use that to forecast the future, all right? Because I think many of us, okay, will not have experience of a pandemic, all right, okay? So that's where the challenge is, all right? So these definitions of forecasting, okay, the traditional one, okay, masih boleh pakai, okay, but we need to adjust it in the sense that we may not be able, we just looking at the using past data, but we still need a forecast going forward. So even if you see news like this, okay, right, okay, economy could shrink, okay, and so on. Bank Negara, okay, right, had earlier forecast, okay, right, okay, that we shrink about, let's say, about 2% and so on, all right, okay. They also have a range, okay, 2%, okay, right, okay, negative, or grow very very sikit lah, 0.5% saja, and so on. Right, so these are the forecast. Of course, you go on the worst case. World Trade Organization, yeah, okay, expect global trade to decrease between 13%, 32%, and so on. So the range betul-betul besar lah. And of course, it also depends on what industry, what business you're in, and so on. And International Monetary Fund, yeah, okay, also predict that global economy, okay, should contract by about 3%, okay, in 2020, and so on. Good news, supposedly, Malaysia is supposed to be or projected to be the fastest growing in the ASEAN region by next year. Yeah, okay, some news report and so on. And yet, when you read, other news elsewhere and so on, okay, right, okay, you will see in my latest slides where there are some strategies, okay, for forecasting and so on, and some of them, okay, whereby we look at other countries for experience and so on, right? It may not necessarily be the 100% answer, but at least it's some reference for which then you can base your forecast on. So, in other countries, okay, the one that has shown the fastest recovery, of course, they were affected earliest, of course, was China, and they are projecting, okay, right, okay, that, they would be about 3 months after the lockdown restrictions been lifted. So hopefully Malaysia, as our MCO, gets relaxed, okay, more and more, and so on, we should hopefully be able to recover by latest end of this year and so on, right? So we hope so, okay, we all hope so and so on. We don't deny that if we're talking about immediate or on the worst case katakan, bulan 3 tahun ni, bulan 4 tahun ni, and so on. Yeah, we were pretty nervous okay, and so on, right? We had a lot of uncertainty, especially those of us who are SMEs, yeah, okay. We lobbied a lot with the kerajaan. I didn't say it's wrong, okay, but certainly, okay, we had this main concern that, we may not have enough cash flows and so on, all right? So that we had a lot of uncertainties and whatnot, and of course we have got reports which you can Google yourself. This is some of them decided that maybe we just close down and so on. So in any case, as my third bullet point mentions, we have some businesses that will be tempted to just do the best. I mean, just try to survive, yeah, and so on, just to ride out these unpredictable times, i.e., just sit and wait lah. Okay, so the question then here is that good enough? Yeah, right? Because we believe that COVID-19, despite things being uncertain and so on, okay, can represent opportunities and threats for businesses. Yeah, so you need to forecast that. What are the threats, okay, going forward? What are the opportunities going forward? And based on that forecast itself, okay, right, okay, you then try to react. So it's still a need to look forward, yeah, what could happen, etc. Okay, so this is the main thing, okay, all right, okay. So apologies for this. Okay, so what can we consider? Okay, all right, as a business. Okay, all right. We don't deny that the basic forecasting steps will always be there. Okay, this one we don't deny. So the basic forecasting will always be there, and in the terms of the basic forecasting steps, the 8 steps here, okay, right, can still be applied, okay, can still be applied. You may not necessarily need to implement all 8 of these steps, okay. So the step number 1, of course, is to determine what is the use of that forecast, what objectives are you trying to obtain, and so on. Let's pause first. The use of this forecast, if you're looking at step number 1, as I've said earlier, one of those immediate ones I think you can guess must be the next few months, okay, is survival, minimum, okay, on the worst case, right, minimum survival. So for a lot of businesses, cash flow planning, okay, right, okay, it's going to be of the most importance, all right, especially when businesses, okay, given the government stimulus packages, there are quite a number of loan packages, okay, right, okay, interest free ka, ataupun, okay, very low interest lah, okay, all those things, all right, okay. That itself, okay, it's why forecasting is important, because the bank will ask you, you nak pinjam berapa banyak, okay. So how do you answer this sort of question when you are unable to forecast, right? If anybody said I can't forecast, so this is why, you know, the step number 1 will be, why do you need to establish what is the purpose, okay, of that forecast itself, right? Then number 2, of course, is normal, okay. Obviously, the next step would be to select the items, okay, I'm going to forecast it, and the most popular amongst them, okay, right, is always sales. Any business, no matter what we can talk about cost, everybody can agree, tak ada sale, no business, finish. Tak payah fikir. We can talk about all the costs for all that matters, right? So number 2 could also be a factor, but it could be difficult, okay? But we will talk about, you know, how we can vary some of these later, okay? All right. And at the same time, of course, okay, step 3 would be to determine your time horizon and forecast. Is it within the short term? It could be 30 days, 1 month to a year, medium term, or longer term, right? For those of us who are unsure about, you know, the longer term, okay, mainly because you think that, well, you have to think about it now, you know, whether you think this pandemic is going to, we can recover, okay, in terms of, you know, identifying the vaccine quick enough, you know, and so on. So if you think that, well, depending on which news report, which supposedly expert you talk to, ada yang kata in the next few months, ada kata next 1 year, or next year, end of next year, and so on. So these are things that you will have to, you know, put into your projections, all right, and so on, right? Anyway, I'll explain more on this a bit later, but certainly your time horizon forecast, okay, would definitely be your starting point, okay, how far you want to, you know, go into. Step 4 talks about selection of forecasting model or models. Which I will show you some forecasting models. All right, you have to. Today one is to just give you a guide now. Okay, what are different models that are currently being applied in forecasting, and given today's scenario, you may want to decide which one will be the best, and so on. Step 5. In the past, we've always talked about gathering data or information needed to make the forecast. Once again, it all links back to step 1. All right, what is the purpose, okay, or use of that forecast that you're going for? How far back in data you want to go back to collect will depend on your purpose. Now, I did say earlier that past data may not necessarily be reflective of the future. I stand by what I said for now for COVID-19. So let's take Maxis, for example. So Maxis, in evaluating, okay, whether their customers akan bayar ke tak akan bayar, they have also decided they are not looking, okay, what do you call, at all their dulu punya data. They are looking at the data which is from the date COVID-19, okay, is deemed to commence. So this is where, again, your timeline, okay, study is going to be, and in the future courses, we will be looking at this timeline, all right? Some think that, I mean, depending on whether you're multinational or you're a small business, some think that COVID-19, okay, maybe only began, let's say we take Malaysia, we only start to worry about it maybe bulan 3. So maybe we look at data lah from bulan 3 onwards. So this is still a past data to forecast the future. So Maxis has already taken the stand that they are looking at past data, but their past data is from a date when, okay, COVID-19 starts. So this is what we're talking about, gathering data. So you need to make that decision when, how far back you want to, to go back, okay, if you wish to use past data to make the forecast, okay. So these are some things to take note. Step 6 looks at validating the forecast model. Yep. Okay, at the end of the day, you may wish to undertake some tests to see whether your forecast model has got some errors or not, and so on. So in mathematics, okay, we call it forecasting errors. So we can calculate the forecasting errors, assuming that you use more than one model. Then we want to know to error, what percentage of error do we face. Obviously, we want something that has got very low percentage error. We cannot say that the error, there's no error, no forecast, it will be one with kosong peratus error punya, okay. If you can find a forecast model that's got no errors, fantastic. I also would like to know about that as well, because that means that we can 100% predict what's going to happen, okay. That's fantastic if you have that. So that's why you need to validate, because you would want to know whether whatever model you derive at, can it be relied upon? Even if there should be an error, to what percentage, error are we looking at, and so on, right? Then, of course, once you accept the model, step 6, then step 7, expected lah. You make the forecast, Then finally, step 8, of course, you implement, whatever, actions that you think based on your forecast, that you have made in step 7. So, the basic first step is something along this line, as you can see there, okay? But like I said earlier, whether you want to decide to implement all 8 steps, systematically or concurrently, or some of the steps, that's a decision that, you would have to make yourself, all right? Okay, or some of that done concurrently lah, and so on. This is a typical slide of you can find in any textbooks, about the different forecasting techniques, and what you see there, on the left is your qualitative models. The middle and the right are your typical, Excel types, and so on. Or basically, using mathematics, I mean, it's not necessarily Excel, but it's using mathematics, all right, and so on. So in terms of the qualitative models, we have amongst them, your Delphi methods, your jury of executive opinion, your Salesforce composite, your consumer market survey, etc. Whether ini semua masih boleh pakai, but in the main, I think the next a lot of judgment, for next few months will come in. So maybe Delphi method or jury executive opinion, will be very useful, because you're getting, opinions. You ask people, agak-agak, what's going to happen, and so on. So Delphi methods, jury executive opinions, is based on, you can sort of say like gut feel, and so on. In the case of a Salesforce composite, basically what happens here is that we ask the salesperson, each one of them, how much sales they think they themselves forecast, and then we add them all up and so on. Consumer market survey, at this juncture, I think a bit can still be done. Right? What do you call online surveys are all can still be done, and so on. Especially the younger among you all, compared to me, you pandai kan, guna think online survey machines like SurveyMonkey or so and so on. So you can get some results, and that still can be used to forecast. So qualitative models masih boleh pakai. But that doesn't stop us later to translate, into, quantitative computations, which I will explain a bit more later. Time series methods, they have, in the middle column, they have the following things like moving average, exponential smoothing, trend projections, decomposition, and so on. Now, for these time series models, these are the ones where you use past data and you project to what they call to the future. That's actually what time series method relates to. So for those of you who feel, and I think many of us will feel very strongly lah, okay, that 2019, 2018, okay, dia punya data kat sana, okay, right, they do not contain COVID-19 scenarios. So it may be very difficult to use 2018, 2019 data, for example, okay, right, so this data, okay, that you can see may not be suitable for projections. But nonetheless, okay, now I scroll backwards, okay, if we believe, okay, right, as what the earlier slides, okay, talked about, that, we have a chance, okay, for recovery. Okay, all right, okay, so this is was one of those that we talked about earlier, and so on. So there's nothing to stop us, from having a short-term projection where things are not so certain, and then after that, okay, have another set of projections, dua, short-term one and long-term one. And so the long-term one will be, maybe hopefully things go back to normal, and then of course, okay, right, okay, use back past data then to project the future, right? Of course, everybody is using the words, okay, the new normal and so on. So of course, then you adjust accordingly, okay. Some, okay, either downwards or upwards, okay, revision. Please understand that admittedly, different businesses, different industries, we are all reacting differently. All right, we're all reacting differently. Those in the medical field, okay, they have commented the other way around. Okay, right, okay, especially the supplies and so on, whereby dia bilang their business becomes so much better now. Okay, all right, okay. So therefore, again, you can also argue past data, how to project the future, because they are now go the other way around pula. Okay, too much business pula. Okay, and so on. So we have that scenario, okay, being discussed now. So that being the case, again, it's a different sort of projections. Yeah, okay. So the last column relates to causal methods. Causal method means what caused the other ones. Okay, the item you're going to forecast. So the popular one is regression analysis, multiple regression, and so on. Okay, so these are just some for the forecasting models that are typically being explained, okay, or being taught and so on. So I just want to pause here first, just to clarify. iLearning will be providing this sort of training, in terms of telling you, okay, what are the ways to apply each of these models, whether they are applicable now in COVID-19 pandemic scenarios or post COVID-19 scenarios, i.e., which of these techniques you see there, okay, we will pick and choose. But nonetheless, okay, it does not stop a person from appreciating the different forecasting techniques, so that under good times, then you'll be able to pick the relevant ones. Under bad times, of course, you take another set of relevant one as well. Okay, each one of them will be good or bad, okay, at different points in time. Okay, all right. But in the meantime, these are the just basic discussion of what are the basic forecasting models. We don't deny that the immediate effect on sales this last bulan 3 ke, bulan 4 ke, okay, and so on, has been that yes, the immediate impact has been reduced revenue. Okay, sales quantities probably have gone down for many businesses, or even some complain kosong pun ada, okay, and so on, or some have have reduce the selling price to very low, even offering free offers. Hari ni is example of a free offer, okay, and so on. So we have that, okay. So there will definitely be changes in sales methodologies and behavior, okay, over the next few months, right? Which of course will impact the margins, okay, and so on, and of course, okay, profit lah, okay, turun lah, okay, that one I think everybody can appreciate. So obviously, of course, okay, right, okay, whatever marketing plans, okay, right, that was looked at before COVID-19 will definitely have to still be reviewed, okay, and we have to make adjustments, right, and of course review our budgets. But what's the moral story? The moral story is we do not stop forecasting. That's the main thing, all right? We do not stop forecasting. The main thing is you still need to plan, okay? So some more things, okay, so what do we do after this, okay, and so on. So one of the things we do, appreciate is that COVID-19 is definitely one of those, okay, we call it a black swan event. That means something very bad, okay, that's has happened. We didn't, okay, anticipate that, okay, we didn't plan for it, okay, and so on. And it is, okay, it's here, okay, talking about how bad, how good it is, and so on, okay. We can still debate that, okay, at another forum. But whatever it is, okay, we do accept that whatever demand forecast that we made last time, okay, and so on, okay, all right, okay, very likely to be wrong, okay, okay, and so on. Like I said, depending on what business you're in, it could be wrong, okay, for the good, which is good news because demand too high, or in most cases, for especially SMEs, most of them complain, okay, sales definitely go down so bad, and so on. So what point 3 talks about is that we will then, of course, have to continuously update and improve on our forecast. It goes without saying, okay? And one of the techniques that should be applied would be to create scenarios, all right? We have to create scenarios. So we need to forecast, okay, so if business picks up, let's say, by 3%, okay, in the next few months, or business kurang by 3% or 2% or whatever lah, okay, what's going to happen? So this is an example of scenario planning, and so this what, okay, will be taught, okay, in the coming courses, okay, under iLearning, all right, where we will create scenarios, okay, we will create scenarios. We will also, if you look at the third bullet point, baris 2, second row, third bullet point, you see the words studying analogs. So we will make comparisons with, other similar industries, other, okay, countries if we have to, and so on, okay. We will see what they, belajar sikit, okay, or what happened to them, maybe factor in a bit of ours, and so on, all right. We are, well, ahead of, I think the other ASEAN, we hope so, okay, other ASEAN countries like Indonesia and so on in terms of recovery, and so therefore we will not be using their data maybe, but we look at others, yeah, and we start try to to look for some, okay, analogs, right, and then we use that, okay, maybe for our forecast. I mean, we can, okay, with some of our own adjustments. But of course, while we make some adjustments, that's where the next one, okay, also still part of the bullet point, the last 3 words, deploying human judgment. Definitely at the end of the day, you still have your own judgment, all right, okay, what you think is going to happen, okay. But what we do is we have different scenarios, okay, all right. So scenario 1, what happens, scenario 2, what happens, scenario 3, what happens, and so on, okay, all right, okay. Let's share with you a quick story, okay, all right. In dulu lah, okay, before Soviet Union broke up, okay, before Soviet Union broke up, okay, to become Russia and many other small countries, Kazakhstan, and so on, okay, all right, later from Soviet Union, it broke up into very, very small country and so on. What Shell did was this. They actually have different scenarios, all right, we call it scenario planning. So they plan, okay, so if after the breakup, so-and-so become president, what happened? If another person become president, then what happened? Okay, and so on and so forth. So they plan for all this, okay. Then when something actually happened, then they take out the plan, okay, they implement it exactly. So tapai fikir lagi, and so on. So this one by scenario planning. So we'll be also doing the same, in the future iLearning courses, we're looking at the same thing, okay, the different scenarios. What do you call, let's say with 3%, negative 3% growth, what happens, okay, positive 2% or positive 0.5%, okay, or no growth, and things like that, okay. And after you've done all of this, the 4th bullet point in this slide will then come in. We will continuously adjust, okay, the short-term forecast during a crisis, and then of course, okay, the medium-term forecast when the recovery begins, okay. Of course, there'll be a lot of assumptions down there, all right, okay. As we said earlier, when you think, okay, recovery, okay, will take place, the growth, okay, of the recovery, all right, okay, no proper plateaus, you think it's going to recover, and so on, okay, right, okay, etc. So these are things, okay, admittedly, there are a lot of uncertainties, right, but certainly we have to forecast, okay, even for all of us in accounting, also we are also forced to do it, all right. this way I mentioned earlier, okay, we will attempt to create different forecast scenarios, and for that would mean that you'll be looking at different levels of sales. Okay, so with okay, with the different levels of sales, then you can have your review of your expense budget. All right, you can then decide, okay, what you need to spend on, okay, what need to reduce, and so on. So that is why one of those immediate ones we'll be looking at for, okay, in iLearning Future, okay, training would be cash flow planning. It's the immediate one, right? Because in the short term will be more survival, right? So cash flow planning will be the immediate ones. Okay, in terms of other recommendations, okay, so it goes without saying that for any business, I think by now everyone would have already done so. Step one, okay, which is to set up a team and a war room, okay, and begin to triage. What this one actually refers to is just basically, to stitch up, immediate one, because it's pandemic is like war, So obviously, of course, okay, to stop the bleeding, everyone is so step one. I think everybody would have already done so. Okay, right, and so on. Especially those the bigger companies where you have your BCP, okay, and so on. You already done all those. Okay, it's the SMEs, the smaller businesses, not so much the medium maybe, but the smaller business that we tend to worry more. All right, okay. So what do you do, and so on. But nonetheless, everyone will still go to step two, which is to develop short-term scenarios. Okay, all right. So we, as I mentioned earlier, under step two, there are 3 bullet points. So I did discuss some of these points earlier. So we talked about the need to determine the outlook for intrinsic demand using analogs, determine what constraints, okay, what will constrain your supply chain. So a little bit of review of contracts, okay, we'll teach you a little bit on this as well, okay, and so on, and to gauge your customer demand, okay, all right, any channel constraints that you may face. Admittedly, in any planning, okay, definitely supply chain, okay, from your suppliers, okay, could be an issue. On the other hand, okay, your customers, okay, are they demanding for your products or services? So there's a balance between these two. Certainly, okay, we'll look at these short-term scenarios. In terms of the medium scenarios, okay, right, as I've mentioned just now, the speed of recovery definitely is what we need to have an assumption and so on, but maybe for others, okay, they may want to have another bullet point added, which I've not put in, things like how long you think the pandemic is going to last, and then only the recovery, okay, when it's going to begin, and then from that what's the speed of recovery, okay, then of course what will be your rebound effects, okay. Businesses have already started, some businesses have already started to undertake retrenchments. So if you have undertaken retrenchments, and then when you're on the recovery mode and so on, okay, the next planning will come in is how fast to recruit back talent, okay, and so on, or skills or workers, etc. If you need manpower and woman power, okay. So that's why we call it rebound effects. Okay, during that time, okay, you need to forecast. Okay, berapa lama? Okay, you think you're going to get back, okay, back to normal operation, etc. Okay. Structural effects, maybe as businesses, if you have been renting premises, especially those in retail, before this, okay, right, okay, we had maybe, I don't know, 100 outlets. Sekarang, okay, maybe, we boss say, we reduced, okay, the number of outlets drastically. Now, okay, when you recover and so on, okay, how you are bound structurally, and these are supposed to be factored into your forecast on. Okay, it's not just forecast sales on. No, operationally, can we do it in the first place, right? So that's why you need to forecast. Okay, structural effects. Okay, the impediments, if any, on the forecast itself. Okay, all right, and of course, for example, like cash flow planning. We also may want to look at, what are the government stimulus packages, okay, that we put in. Maybe originally we are supposed to be in very, very tight cash flows, financial difficulties, but maybe, with some incentives, okay, and so on from the government, we may be able to recover faster, okay. So we need to factor those in as well. All right. We understand that there'll be more announcements end of the month. Okay, so hopefully, okay, there are more packages. Okay, all right. Okay, put into the to benefit businesses in the economy. Okay, and so on. Okay. So in closing, for today, what to expect? So what's going to come from iLearning will be as follows. While the bulk will be probably in Excel, we will then teach you, okay, for immediate survival, how to forecast the cash flows over the short term. Okay, so that's the immediate one first. Then, of course, got longer term one. Okay, we will attempt to model, okay, working capital requirements, okay, in Excel. Basically, how much to finance your suppliers. Okay, so how much financing you can get from your suppliers, how much to finance your inventory, how much to finance your customers, investments, semua tu lah. All right, cash flow planning is the immediate one for those who wish to know. There are a couple of others, things like inventory management, okay, techniques in Excel during COVID-19, and so on. Okay, and of course, the main one, as I mentioned just now, scenario planning in Excel. Okay, so especially for the next few months and the next 1-2 years. All right, so we need to plan for different scenarios. So how does it, forecast planning. Okay, we will use the basic one is Excel because I think everybody's got Excel, so that's the simplest one. There are other softwares in the market, okay, which you can export them into other software as well. Along the way, for those who are not familiar with some of the functions in Excel, then of course we look at some of the functions in Excel as well. So it could be beneficial for those who who still need additional knowledge on Excel. You have to understand that you need to know what Excel edition you have. Okay, we will be looking for those who have the latest versions. Okay, especially Excel 2016 and onwards. All right. Okay, within that Excel function itself, okay, there are other projections. Okay, projection function itself, right? So we will probably teach you that as well, right? That way, you just click lah, okay? Of course, you do some input, you click, and lepas tu dia akan buat projection, okay, for different scenarios. So you can have that as well, okay? So that will be some of the training that will be included under iLearning going forward. Okay, of course the titles will be more and more, and those of you who want other sort of titles, okay, in terms of forecasting related, of course you can beritahu lah, okay, iLearning, okay, and see what and iLearning will see how best to accommodate the requests. Okay, all right, so these are some things I can just explain for on behalf of iLearning. Okay, all right. So with that then, okay, I will now pass back to Danita.
Hi, thank you so much, Mr. Ng. Okay, so now we are at the Q&A session. Okay, so far, ada sesiapa tak nak tanya Mr. Ng? Or would like to speak to Mr. Ng to ask certain thing about the forecasting, yeah, forecast discourse, about discourse. Kalau ada boleh just shoot the chat. Besides that, Mr. Ng, do you think you have any question that you can ask the participant about some discourse, so they can like answer your question from here?
Okay, probably I will, instead of asking a question, probably I just possibly elaborate more of what I mentioned earlier. Even if we not able to forecast even basic things like sales and so on, I think one of the characteristics we notice, okay, for many businesses, whether especially when we use concept just now, we talk about analog. Kita belajar from other countries. We have discussed with other countries and so on, And we do notice that, especially we take China as one example. The past year once the lockdown was what do you call, they stopped the lockdown. We in accountants, when we look at businesses, we notice one thing. They all become very highly geared. Maksudnya they have made a lot of borrowings, pinjaman. So we predict that Malaysia, a lot of businesses will be also have a lot of borrowings. So obviously, of course, that you need to forecast. Okay, fine. After this, if you're going to have banyak pinjaman, can you still survive? So that's where the forecast in the next few months. Aliran tunai bagus kah, tak bagus kah, and so on. So that itself is what one of the main concerns. Never mind the fact that ada loan moratorium kah, okay, and so on. We know that one's okay. It's good. Okay, ada loan moratorium. The only thing is that now we're fighting is interest lah. Okay, masih jalan lah. Okay, and so on. I think everybody knows about the hire purchase, one good example dia lah. Okay, and so on. So the point here is that even if you finally don't apply for your own business, personal pun kena buat forecast lah. Okay, that's the thing. So that's my main worry. So small business, especially small business, where is the sole proprietor, on the worst case, sole proprietor and personal lebih kurang sama lah, okay, and so on, because they are tied together. Sdn Bhd, business collapse sometimes still okay, because business, orang is orang, but sole proprietor is a different story. So the point here is, even if you find that not applicable, if at all, okay, personal well-being in terms of financially also is still important.
And so that means, are you actually suggestion for the company itself to take the loan or what, on your own opinion, because they cannot forecasting whether they have sales or not, but
that's why in terms of there'll be several aspects of future training. One, okay, in terms of what do you call, in the first place, if you have cash, you need to forecast first. Are you going to face cash flow problems? How much deficit you are likely to face? Okay, that's the first part. So that when you have that workings, then at least when you go to the bank, okay, you'll be able to to say, all right, how much I need to pinjam lah. Okay, so that's the first part. Because without some forecasting, then of course we'll agak-agak, and I didn't say agak-agak is totally wrong, but it's still a fact that we will still need to fill up in borang permohonan lah. Okay, berapa banyak pinjaman you nak. I know many businesses are going, especially the micro one, they're going for maximum, okay, whatever the facility allows for, okay. But when you get the full amount, itu the bank will then consider. All right, okay, that's another thing, okay. Of course, maybe if you want, we will be able to do some forecasts first, and then after that, I will also during the training show for those who don't know lah. Okay, typically what the banks do lah. Okay, how they adjust the figure to see whether you must say boleh bayar tak, okay, mampu bayar tak, and so on. All right, so that could be thrown into for the training lah. Okay, to benefit the participants. But I'm just saying that we predict that this is the immediate one. Okay, concern. That's why the first one to tackle, recommended, is for the short term will be cash flow planning, and it's targeted for those who are not financially literate lah. Okay, if you are financially literate, of course you probably can do your own planning, but this training we hope to train everyone. Okay, based on that part first, cash flow planning.
So this forecasting will help the big company as well for the forecasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a Cik Farida here asking when is the next class for the forecast. Okay, we will have it. So my team will reach Cik Farida to give the full details about the class forecast. Okay, Mr. Mungkin maybe you can tell us a little bit about what we will learn about in the focus class later on.
Okay. As I explained earlier, okay. Okay, as I explained earlier, the immediate one I would definitely target y'all is talking about forecasting cash flows, probably mixed together with it some working capital requirements, okay, and so on. But it does not remove the fact that in the end, to forecast cash flows, let's also all be frank, your first step definitely has to be to forecast your sales. Okay, all right, that's the first one. So we will attempt to forecast sales, or forecast, okay, collections and so on. So that's the first part. Okay, then we will attempt to appreciate, okay, to compute whether do we have enough cash or don't have enough cash, and so on. So it will be a combination of sales, collections, expenses, yeah, and so on, or what can we cut, etc. So, but first round is to forecast those. You'll be given templates, basically, and so on, and then from the templates, then we will play with it, okay, see what we can input, okay, and so on. So that's one of those. But along the way, we also mentioned that there will be training on the use of functions in Excel. So only again just for a quick revision for some of those okay, of you all right, okay, where you're not familiar with the functions. So the functions, okay, will be thrown in, okay, for those, okay, to teach us okay, how to do those forecasts, especially the more when you reach the more complex. The bigger one coming up, okay, which is scenario planning, and so on. So this is more for the slightly longer term. So if economy or business industry pick up, by 2%, that what happens, yeah, okay, and so on. So we will then have a training, okay, whereby for a few months tak bagus, lepas tu bagus, okay, and therefore what do we do, and etc. So the different scenarios, right? So we'll see what we can do where this one is concerned under scenario planning, okay. But it does not remove the fact that some of these are still judgmental, right? Because that's your assumptions, okay. But at least there is some scenarios down there, okay. Any other topics that you feel that you would like to have, okay, all right, okay. Sorry, any that you would like to have, okay, right, okay, there's nothing to stop you from suggesting to iLearning, okay, all right, okay, there's nothing to stop you from suggesting that. So I leave.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ng, for sharing with us today. So, can I see some engagement from the client? Do you feel that this sharing session useful? If yes, maybe you can just chat here and let us know. Okay, so then we will know that this is very useful for you guys. Okay, so by the way, yeah, besides that, I would like to actually thank you to everyone for joining us today. So I have some polls here. If you can maybe ask, okay, how likely you actually to recommend this webinar series to your colleague or your friends? If you can help us to just keep the polls. Okay, Cik Fatin, thank you for explanation. Yeah, okay, hope to see you guys in our next webinar. Thank you so much, Mr. Ng, for sharing with us today. And we hope to see you for the other participant for the next class. Okay, we have so much interesting details about this forecasting class and a lot of courses from Mr. Isaf. Okay, we will update you guys about it. Okay, so far right now everyone have a good experience today with us in our webinar. Okay, beside that, we also have another class. So this is our training calendar. You might have it. Okay, so every week we have free classes. If you interested, can let us know. Okay, so and then we also have a paid class as well lah. Okay, And then, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. If let's say you have any question, just drop us an email. Please subscribe our YouTube channel or share with your friends. And then all our LinkedIn, and then visit our website lah for today. Okay, and hope to see you guys in the future class. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for feedback with us. All right. Thank you, Mr. Earn. See you again. Meet you again.
Yeah, welcome. See you. All take care.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Mm.
Bye.